Hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast. Before we get into the show, I just want to let you know about our sponsors. It's a film called Sir John A. and the Curse of the Antiquenched. It's fun comedy, and you can get it on Vimeo on demand right now for only $2.99, and it's also available on Amazon Prime streaming right now. Speaking of Amazon, if you want to support the podcast, head over to our website, raidersofthelostcommentary.com, and click on the Amazon banner. It'll take you to Amazon. If you buy something on Amazon the next little bit after that, kicks us a few little pennies, helps support the podcast, and we really appreciate you doing so. We are back with our Mandalorian coverage. I'm so excited. I'm going to start the 10-minute timer now. Matt, what do you think? We're going to do episodes 1 through 4, and then we'll cover
1 through 4,
5 through 8 in a month or so.
So I guess let's talk about, I guess we can go episode by episode. So Chapter 9, The Marshal, episode 1 of season 2.
Yes.
You know what? I'm a big fan of Timothy Oliphant.
I am too. I have always been a fan of his.
As soon as he walked in, I'm like, he's too lanky to be Boba. Like, he's too tall. It doesn't fit. I'm like, that's not Boba. And if it is, they picked someone wrong. And then I heard the voice. I'm like, I know that voice.
Yeah.
No, I like how they did it. And we finally get to see, what is it, Crate Dragon? Which we've only ever seen, I think we've only ever seen the skeleton of it in New Hope.
Exactly, yeah.
So that was cool to see.
That's deep cut Star Wars too, especially them after the egg thing in his stomach. That's from a trading card from an old Star Wars game, I guess, back in the day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so it's really, really deep cut. I thought that sand monster crate thing, just the concept of it was just so cool.
I mean, it starts off it gave me some Tremors vibes.
Yeah,
Tremors with sand people.
Yeah, in a way,
which I'm okay with.
A lot of these episodes have been at least the first 2 or 3, there has been just some type of monster they have to deal with.
Yeah, but I'm cool with that, right? It feels very kind of Witcher, but it also feels very D&D. Mandalorian has a very D&D campaign of he's got where he's we know where he wants to go. But he's constantly having sidetracked, and there's always
doing side
well,
quests.
in order to do this, you've got to do this. You know what I mean? So
things.
I'll give you the armor, but you got to help me defeat this thing. And then episode 2, it's you can get to here, but you also have to bring this frog lady.
Yeah. So Favreau wrote and directed. Obviously, Favreau wrote all of the season again.
I mean, that's in any rule, right? Most rules in terms of showrunners will usually direct and write the first and the last episode.
Yeah.
Or
but
the
he's
two
writing
parters.
Everything. He wrote all the first season too, which and honestly, I love it. It's so good. It has a continuity that I feel like Star Wars hasn't had since George Lucas. You know?
I think it also helps with Dave Filoni on board as executive producer, as well as sometimes he comes in for writing. I think he's writing the latest episode 5.
Yeah, and I think Filoni is kind of like the Kevin Feige. He knows.
Yeah,
he's
well, especially with
after
watching Clone Wars, the Clone Wars, and Rebels. This man is trying to save things. With the Clone Wars, he pretty much saved the prequels.
Have you watched the Lego Star Wars?
Rewatching the prequels after the Clone Wars just gives so much context.
Yeah.
That you just don't.
Have you watched the Lego Star Wars? The Lego Star Wars? You seen that? The Christmas special,
the holiday special. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So, arguably, I would say a better than Rise of Skywalker. I think
that one.
I think it's obviously silly and it's fun, but I think
to do for Mando, and then we're also already talking about Lego. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Anyways, whatever. We could go back and forth a bit, but I don't know. I watched it the other night and I was like, this story is better than all of the new Star Wars. And it's silly, but the idea. I won't put too many spoilers in here, but the idea of it. It's a better concept than what they did with everything else. Anyways,
it's also a better holiday special.
Yeah,
than
Life
the original. Day. But they still play with it, right? I found that the Lego holiday special felt like they were not taking themselves too seriously because they make a lot of jokes in regards to themselves, right? It's very self-deprecating humor
which
towards Star Wars, which is great. which is great. But yeah, okay. So I really enjoyed. They started off strong with the first episode. No, it wasn't story heavy, and yes, we got a possible Boba Fett at the end. I mean, who knows? It's more than likely Boba Fett. But it could maybe be a clone.
Yeah, it could be that too. We don't know.
It could be. Like a lot of people saying like, oh, they're probably dead by now. Well, I mean, it could be, but I mean, he doesn't look as old as clones should be. So more than likely it's Boba Fett, but we won't know until probably one of the last episodes. Calling it now,
so yeah,
if at all.
Chapter 2, The Passenger. I really love this episode. The lizard mom and the eggs that Baby Yoda keeps eating. I laughed so hard.
It's the eggs that broke the internet because everyone's like, "Oh my God, Baby Yoda is causing genocide." Well, no, he's not. If anything, he's just killing that family's line, but not the whole species, just their family line. But as well as I'm pretty sure they're unfertilized. So it's not
I think that was
bad.
The point. Yeah.
But I mean,
either way, it was hilarious.
It's hilarious because kids will put anything in their mouth.
Yeah, exactly. It was just funny that he just went for it, and that also, weird spider creature that they had.
Yeah, that's from Rebels.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Like those creatures are straight up in Rebels, and I saw that episode before I saw Rebels. So when they showed up in Rebels, I was like, hey. But
that's cool.
But Mando does that a lot. Like,
seeing...
they'll put things in from like the I mean, why not? Dave Filoni's like, yeah, toss it in there. Why not?
Yeah, I love seeing.
I enjoyed it.
How badass the X-wing fighters are. Like how badass those pilots are.
I love the ending of like, nah, take care of you. Like we're not gonna arrest you, but we're not gonna help you. See you later.
Yeah, we won't let you die, but you're on your own.
Yeah. Also, I love how decrepit the spaceship is by the end. Like it's just falling apart.
Yeah. So
it creates realism where like I don't know, it just you don't see that very much. Like it feels very opener of Pirates of the Caribbean where his like ship is literally just like coming in like destroyed.
Yeah. That's so yeah, when he's coming in at the start of episode 3, directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. It's shot...
Also, I'll mention episode 2 or chapter 10, The Passenger, is actually directed by Peyton Reed, the guy that did Ant-Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man.
Yeah. Anyways,
but yeah,
he brings on a lot of like pretty decent directors to come in, right? Like last season we had like Taika Waititi and I think Bryce was also one of them from last year as well. So then we got the Heiress, which is a big episode for Clone Wars and Rebels fans because of Bo-Katan, right? It's the continuation of the story we've seen in those past shows. I was just trying to catch up with Rebels before the next ones kept airing, right? I'm like, I had to binge like crazy just to catch up on it. I'm glad I did. So I didn't have to miss out on anything in Bo-Katan. But fun fact, it's still like Bo-Katan has been played by one actor.
Yeah, she got to play her in the cartoon and the live action.
It's crazy because I saw her when she first showed up. I was like, oh damn! Like they the costume design is on point to the show. Like it's identical. But then I saw her. I was like, she looks very similar. I didn't know that Katie Sackhoff also voiced her in the animated show. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. Because the only thing I had, I was like, she should be older.
Yeah, but anyways. I mean, it's one of those things where,
but because they got her, I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we'll let it slide. Kind of, that's one of those things. But so when the Razor Crest is falling to the planet at the start of that episode, it's shot for shot, like in Apollo 13 when the space capsule is falling to Earth.
Is it?
Yeah. So Bryce Dallas Howard did it on purpose.
Yeah, she
as an homage to her father,
her own dad.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's a few people online that pointed it out, but I was like, oh man, that's so cool, and it was pretty great. Like, people have thought like, oh, maybe Bryce should do a Star Wars movie, which would be cool. But if Star Wars just abandoned feature films for a while and only did series like this,
I mean, I would be so much. That's what they're doing.
It'd be better.
Like, wow, I'm pretty sure that is what they're doing. We're getting Obi-Wan. We're getting and I think like they mentioned when season 2 was supposed to start, they mentioned that like a lot of characters we might see in Mando might get their own spin-off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
We might see a bigger development through shows, and they might not all have like main seasons, right? Sometimes it could just be like a limited series, you know. But I'm fine with that. That like honestly, Mando has showed, and especially even like the Clone Wars as well as Rebels, they've shown that Star Wars is too big to put into film. Yeah. Because look at the sequel trilogy, it fell flat due to everything seemed like you've got 3 movies, but everything seemed so underdeveloped.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Just at the end of the 10-minute timer, but
so I guess let's finish that last episode. I will say the Heiress wasn't my favorite so far. So far, it's been my least favorite.
Okay.
But I mean, they're still good. It's just it hasn't been my favorite. And then the last one, The Siege, directed by Carl Weathers.
This one might have been one of my favorites so far, just because it was so action packed. It was just like a lot
of action. I do enjoy seeing the vehicle. I forget what the hell it's called, the stormtrooper carrier.
Oh wait,
which you're vehicles.
Speaking of vehicles, in episode 1, the Marshal. The little like speeder bike that he's on.
Yeah, it's a pod racer.
It's Anakin. It looks like Anakin's pod. It looks like
I don't know if it was Anakin's pod, but I definitely recognize it as a pod racer for sure.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's so cool. Them recycling these things, and like this desert planet would have to recycle a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
Why not?
Anyways.
And it's just build a speeder off a jet engine.
Yeah, but yeah, the Siege. Which I felt like this got into like some really cool backstory of whatever the Moff Gideon thing. They reference an M count,
finally
right?
Like that's the other thing too, right? Like the show doesn't focus too much on the story arc. It's more on the characters themselves. Yeah. And like we're getting because it took 4 episodes to even get to the Moff Gideon part that was at the end of the first season. Like they're not really caring too much. It's all about the journey, not the destination.
Exactly.
But I was just excited when I saw the stormtrooper carriers. I'm like, hey, I recognize those from the cartoons.
And it was pretty cool to just have like kind of like another action sequence again. Like we did it last season with the Bill Burr episode where they go to that prison.
That's one of my favorite ones, The Prisoner. Oh, it's so good.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And like, yeah, we get some more backstory. And then we get like a drop at the end of the episode that he's going to go see Ahsoka Tano, which is like, oh shit, it's on.
Yeah, and it's like, oh shit, everything, all the rumors are true.
Yeah, and we know that Dave Filoni is directing the next episode, and he wrote that character. So
odds are
she's in it.
She's probably gonna show up,
which is pretty cool. And I'd be pretty excited. I'd be excited.
What do you think of that last sequence of the Siege episode? Right, where we see supposedly dark troopers.
Yeah, being sort of.
Yeah. Also the clone aspect of this, like, because you see people like growing in tanks. Like, I feel like they're trying to tie in together. Like, I feel like Mando, and I mentioned this before, but like Dave Filoni tries to, like, he does a good job of tying things and making movies better. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he fills in the gaps that I feel like they might try to fill in the gaps for Snoke.
Of just like where that all comes from, like
and you know what? I mean, it's iffy. Like a lot of people are just like retcon the sequels because they really don't like it. But I feel like obviously they're not going to do that. They spent way too much money to do that. But I feel like Dave Filoni's falling into hands of trying to fix certain things. He's done it before. Maybe he might make the sequels great or better.
Just make them make a little more sense with
because like we have no history so far of like it goes from Empire to New Order, right? Like where's the development, and hopefully we're gonna see some of that. And I'm fine seeing it as long as it's a slow burn. Don't bring them on too early. I know Star Wars Resistance, the cartoon, takes place a little bit before A Force Awakens. Again, another Dave Filoni show that I guess tries to add more context and backstory. I haven't seen that one yet, but I'm I'm liking where they're going so far. People, like, I guess people's complaints has always been like, you've got eight episodes and it just seems like you're not going anywhere with them. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like these one-offs. I'm fine with the one-offs. That's what makes this great is the one-offs create a world. It shows you much more than you would if you're just following the story. Like I said, right? It's about the journey, not the destination in this. And it feels very much like a D&D campaign, right? You're constantly, or like any video game. If you've played any video game, it's always, in order to do this, you got to help me with this. In order to do this, you got to help me with this quest. Go kill some rats, go kill this, like take care of this complex.
My only gripe with it is that it's not longer. Like, I would be so happy with like
I get a little disappointed
episodes.
when I see like something like 30 minutes. Like, really? Like, but last year I had 37.
Exactly. Well, we'll be back after this with the wrap up to The Mandalorian. And we're loving it so far. We hope you are too. Let us know what you think in the comments, or if we missed anything that
I've probably missed
covered
some things. Like, I'm sure we've missed a lot of Easter eggs in the background from the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
But I'm keeping an eye out.
Yeah. But yeah. Again, we thank you for listening, and check out our sponsors on the site. Like, share, review, and we'll be back soon with another episode.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at Lost Commentary, on Instagram at Raiders of the Lost Commentary, and like us on Facebook.
I'll be back.